All right, welcome back to It's Basically Monday. I've got,
Hey.
hey, guys, say hello
uh, hello.
to our
Hello,
esteemed,
fellow humans.
to our esteemed listeners.
Yes, the listeners. I can't believe you're
Yeah,
still here.
Yeah, bring you another
hilarious.
episode of Sporadic Thoughts from three dudes who ponder life.
You
Yeah, as
know,
Yeah,
everyone should.
yeah. Speaking of life, anything new with anyone this week? Any
this
news?
week,
Yeah, well, since last time we spoke.
I'm just trying to remember, like, what did I even do this week? Yeah, no,
Okay, get
nothing crazy. Surviving,
I
surviving.
staying alive.
I saw um Dancing with the Stars with my family, and the whole experience was like the definition of wasted bachelorette party. So, if, like, you're into that type of atmosphere, that's the show you want to go to.
You said Dancing with the Stars
Yeah.
with your family?
How do you even
And,
go?
like, the
Yeah.
experience with your family was drunken bachelorette party.
No, like going to that show, it's like the whole atmosphere is like a drunken bachelorette party.
How do you
Wait,
even
you
get tickets to that? Like, what?
you went there? Like, went there?
How do you
Yeah,
even
like
go
last
there?
night. They were in Milwaukee and I went and saw the show with my
Wait,
family.
Dancing with the Stars was in Milwaukee? Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean it's not like the celebrities themselves, but like they're like tour show or whatever. I guess it's like
Oh,
most of the
okay.
like
Oh,
main
okay.
dancers or something. I don't know. I don't watch the show, so
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was like I was like, oh shit, like that's
Oh, okay. Yeah,
crazy.
like the perma dancers.
right, yeah, the professionals.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay. And you said that was like drunken bachelorette party.
Yeah, like going to that show is like a
And
drunken
you
bad.
went with your family.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, what did your parents feel about it?
I mean, they liked it. They thought it was entertaining.
Okay. That's hilarious. Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's a new thing. I thought it was a fascinating experience. So there you go. Yeah, if
Oh.
you're into Dancing with the Stars out there, let us know. And I'd like to know why. I mean, I already know why, but I just want to hear.
I want you to say it. I want you to tell yourself the truth in the comments. Say it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Like,
Admit it.
tell me.
Well, that's
Yeah.
unfortunate. I'm really sorry that happened to you.
I mean, it
Yeah,
wasn't unfortunate. I just thought it was like crazy.
Crazy sounds unfortunate, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, sounds like you got something
so,
out of it. So,
It was memorable, so I
uh,
think that's good.
oh,
did
okay.
it did anyone just like take off their bra and shirt and just flash everyone?
No. I mean, like, a majority of like the wardrobe choices for the dancers was basically that. But like, no one in the crowd did that. Although one girl was like so white girl wasted at the end of the show that she like wiped out going down like a flight of stairs, and like everyone like just watched it and and didn't like do anything about it. And like, you know how drunk people are, they just got up like right away and pretended like it was all good, but it wasn't. Like you like like the whole theater, it smelled like boxed wine and bad
Oh,
decisions.
Mm,
oh man.
we've got a lot
Yeah.
of Bucks wine over
So
here.
like, okay. But okay. Yeah, I'm starting to get a picture of this now.
Yeah.
Danielle, we're talking to you.
I mean, do you like I mean, does she like Dancing with the Stars?
No, she likes Bucks wine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Uh, all right.
yeah, a little Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this as a eligible bachelor, that's a great place to go and like
No,
take
no,
your pick of.
no, man, not no, man.
I'm not
You're
saying I would do that, but like if you
No,
were that kind of person,
no,
like
you don't. You don't
if
have to
you're a
do that.
hunter,
You don't have to do that. It's okay.
not every guy like can just wait for someone to come to them. I'm saying if you are the type of guy that likes to go out there and like strike out like 30 times in one night, that there's your spot.
That's that is just that is really something.
That's hilarious. Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there like that.
Yeah.
Like a ton.
Yeah. uh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
but
think if you don't go through that experience that you haven't even lived life.
Ugh,
It's like, what are you
okay.
doing, man? Get out there.
Ugh, just that is really something.
yeah, get out there and strike out. Get that batting average down.
Yeah,
Right at
get
the
that.
bottom.
And get
Ugh.
used to rejection.
Why would you ever go to a place to practice rejection?
Because it's something that happens, so
I mean,
you
if
can
it
get
just
used to it.
if it's just gonna happen anyway, I mean, you might as well just like let it happen naturally in real life. Like I can't imagine trying to like actually simulate act like real rejection. Like I can understand practicing on a friend or like somebody that you know, so you're just like I have an idea of like how I'll feel when I say certain things, but to go to a place and be like, you know what I'm looking to do tonight, have everyone say no to me. That's that is that's the way I want to go about
I mean,
this.
I don't think that's actually what they think. I think what the strategy is I'm gonna keep trying until I get one. Which I mean, I don't think that's like a bad thing to do in
In
life in general. Like you have to
in
keep trying.
in this scenario when you're trying to get one, or what does get one mean? Like for the night or like well what's the end
Yeah.
goal? I'm just curious.
E either way.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. That's not my mindset. But if I were to put myself in that
Oh.
mindset, I
Yeah,
believe it's
I'm
just
asking
like
you. Yeah. Yeah, what do you
I
think?
think it's just anyone for any amount of time, whether it be like for
Wow.
30 minutes to an hour. As long as you get the validation of a win, then that's
Oh,
it.
wow. Okay.
I
Well,
won't win.
alrighty. Well,
Well, I don't know,
that's
understand. You sound disappointed as if you expected these to be profound people.
Uh, w- I don't know if I expected profoundness, but that is certainly quite a picture. I'm not saying that that doesn't happen. I'm sure it does, but that's an interesting perspective to have going into a place. I can understand going in saying like I'm going to put my best foot forward, and then if you strike out a lot, you strike out a lot. But yeah, the idea of like I'm expecting it to be lots of no's, and then if I just get a yes for just a little bit, then that's good. That just seems like an interesting approach, one that I would not think to take. So it's just interesting to listen to. That's all.
Those people
Yeah.
would make great salesmen. Like they never give up.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, are you interested in me today? No? Okay, I'll try again tomorrow.
Well,
Like what? Like Jesus
that's.
Christ. But yeah,
I
That
mean,
used
there's
to
that's
definitely people like
be
that.
that's certainly a persistent salesman. I don't know if I'd say it's a good one though.
I feel like that whole persistent like guy persona was a huge thing like back in the 90s. Like on the TV shows, there was always like that one guy that was going after that one girl on the show and they would
Yep.
literally never give up and everyone's just like, "Haha, that's so great and cute. Oh man, he like really likes her." But now like you get slapped with like a stalking a stalking lawsuit or something.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
The same time, then you have girls expecting like if a guy is interested that they can reject them 40,000 times and they'll still come back that 40,001 time so then they can say
Yeah.
yes and like live happily ever after. Like no, dude, like if you
Yeah.
treat him like that the whole time, he's not coming back. Like
Yeah, I heard someone say some like interesting quote once. I don't know who said it or exactly how it goes, but something along those exact lines, Valero, of like it's not really abuse if the person wants the attention back. Like so basically like the line that you draw of like whether persistence turns into you being a creep is whether or not the person actually likes you back. But the only way to know that is to risk being a creep. So it's
yep.
like, well, just gotta see what happens.
Yeah, like you're not a creep if you're hot. Like if you're
Yeah,
super hot, then it's
yeah,
like, oh, haha,
yep,
you're so funny,
yeah.
but
Isn't that crazy?
no.
Yeah, if you're,
But if you're ugly, there's like send this man to jail.
yeah, yep, yeah,
Oh, holy shit.
yeah. What a world. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, if
Um,
you were super old or like ugly and unattractive and you walked up to like a super attractive like lady or like, a girl or something, like yeah, you could easily get called the cops on you. Like if you're like, "Excuse me, ma'am, I just saw you in the corner and I just figured I'd ask if maybe you want to go out sometime." Like depending on how you looked, like that could either be taken as like, oh, like no thanks or whatever, I'm married or whatever, or it could be like, holy shit, this guy's like literally trying to like, he's been stalking me, staring at me in the corner, like he's gonna, he's a predator for sure, which he might as well could be. Like you don't know, but like you also don't know that he is. It's just kind of funny, like the fine line between predator and just like, oh, he was just shooting his shot.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Be careful
Yeah, I'm
when you're
glad
out
I'm
there
not in that
shooting.
world anymore.
Yeah, be careful when you're out there shooting, guys. Be careful. And girls, you never know.
But I
They
feel like nowadays with online dating, it kind of makes it clear. Like, if you're just like soliciting someone like that's not on a dating website, uh, for dates and stuff, then I guess that can be considered maybe too much. But like, if you're on like a dating website, then like, and you talk to someone, there's no way you can get in trouble for that, right? Like,
no,
they're there
you just get rejected a
for,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So I
people are
guess there's a
practicing
time
that
and
in other
place,
ways. Yeah,
right?
people just practice that in other ways now, which was kind of a surprising why when I heard Gouda say what he said about like this is a good place to like just test test your luck and just see what happens. Like just practice, how you're gonna approach. Because I thought a lot of that was happening online, but I guess it could happen in real life too. My first thought would be that people who can do it online who are bad at it anyway probably wouldn't think to go outside and do it. But
Dude, do you remember in high school? You guys were, yeah, we all went to the same high school. Like, I don't even want to say his name. Can I say his first name? Is that too much? I don't even know.
let's not do that.
Okay. But this kid who was, I think he was like not in our grade. I'm not even sure. I don't think he was in our grade. He must have been younger. But I considered he was on the tennis team. But I considered him to be the most dorkiest, like stupid, like awkward, weirdest
Wow.
uh person ever. Like, do you happen to know who I'm talking about? Like, he was like,
No,
No, actually.
no, I did not.
okay, like he I that's like it's hard because like I don't want to like say too much to like point out who we could be talking about, but at the same time, whatever. So this is the guy. So it's like this kid, but like I remember he like he somehow I think got a girl to talk to her or to talk to him, and then he later on like told that girl like I'm just using you as a stepping stone so that like hotter girls will then like talk to me and then I can use them as a stepping stone. I'm just like, holy
Yeah,
shit,
he
dude.
laid out
Like
his
he
whole master
legit
plan.
like the way he like talked to people, it's like he didn't realize that like like how stupid he looked and sounded and was. It's like I don't know. That's yeah, it's just like if I looked like that and acted like that, like I would never open my mouth because I would be ashamed, essentially. Like, but like some people, they don't care. Like just like they look in the mirror and say, "This is great. I'm gonna go out there and knock him dead today." And he got a girl to talk to him. Like it wasn't the hottest girl, but he literally got a girl to talk to him.
Wait, this person that
Crazy.
you're talking about, were they like good? Like actually like did they have a position like in the starting lineup?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm
So,
still not sure because I mean that's like that was like
at
what you're
least I'm pretty
describing
sure he
was
did.
most of like the
You're
tennis
right. Because I started thinking about the starting lineup of the tennis team. It's like, ooh, you know what? He was basically fit that exact description. Or, but like this guy was like, there was like I want to say something that will dox him so bad, but like,
I don't. I
like,
mean, yeah, it doesn't really matter. If you
like,
really want us to know, just put his name in the chat.
I don't remember I don't remember his last name even, but I remember his first
Okay,
name.
that's who I thought you meant. And I would say that there is definitely something
Oh yeah,
like not,
I kind of know him.
yeah. I don't think I think he would be what the kids today would call neurodivergent.
And what does that mean?
Who the fuck knows?
Right.
He's
It's
divergent
Ask
to
the kids.
neurons.
it's whatever you want it to be to explain your odd behavior when you don't fit in. That's
Is that a new replacement for the R word?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that far, but
no.
yeah.
Well, whatever. Even that guy, like, we don't even know this for sure. We're just suspecting this, and would have to agree with you that something was probably not right with this kid. Like, someone would have some sort of, like, any normal person would have the social awareness to understand that, like, this is not normal. Like, whatever. I don't know. He did not act like it, though. I can tell you that. Like, yeah, he had confidence, just complete
Yeah.
misplaced
I
confidence.
think he was just socially awkward, so he decided probably early on to just act as if that is how he's gonna like to act a certain way and not shy away from it. So he just leaned into it completely.
Yeah, he really leaned into it.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, yeah, okay. So that's interesting. Yeah. So I actually wanted to talk that kind of bridges the gap a little bit to what I want to talk about. Not so much about the people still on the market, but the people who decide to take themselves off the market. So I wanted to talk a little bit about divorce today. And I was seeing, like, I've actually meant to talk about this on one of the earlier podcasts, but we didn't get to it. Um, just about how prevalent divorce is now, and like being a married person, and like I guess we have two married people here, and then good, as far as I know, like your, correct me if I'm wrong, like your parents have been married
I
for like,
mean, okay, yeah.
yeah, your
Yes.
parents have been married for like forever, at least as long as I've known you. So
That's
yeah,
correct.
yeah. So it's interesting to me. Like I don't personally know anyone who's like been divorced in our age group, but a lot of the stats say that right around our age is when people have their first divorce. So I kind of wanted to go around and ask a couple of questions. The first is, do you think people like view marriage as something serious with, people divorcing like basically half the time? And then like Gouda, is there anything you've seen in people like do you think it's a maybe it's cultural, I don't know, but like have you seen anything in like your parents or in the successful relationships that you've seen that like just isn't prevalent today? And then after that, I like to like sort of hear about Valero's experience with marriage so far.
Okay, wait. So you want me
So
to
you,
answer
yeah,
first?
if you could start, yeah.
All right, so you want me. So what have I noticed in relationships that are
Yeah,
successful?
what do you think in from what you've seen would make it successful, and do you think you see anything today that would suggest why we're going down the road of more divorce and not less divorce?
Um, well, from what I've seen with my parents, and like something that my mom actually said not too long ago, like over the holidays when we were having dinner, because my brother was talking about how he's looking for a wife, and he was like listing all these things that he's looking for,
Mm,
and my mom was like lamenting how often, like what you're just saying, how often people get like divorced these days in America, and she was saying that she feels like people here in this country are way more about the destination rather than the journey.
mm,
And I would agree with that in that I think but a lot of people are seeing like what they would quote unquote call like, the ideal relationship, or those are relationship goals or whatever the fuck that you do on social media. So it's like the bar for what your life is supposed to look like, joy and happiness wise in a relationship, is being set by what you're seeing out there. And a lot of those people are going out and like having like the lavish marriage, yeah, marriage ceremonies and getting married and all that stuff, because that is seen as like the pinnacle of telling the world that you think this person is worth it. So anything less than that is letting the world know that you don't think that. And from what I understand, for the modern woman who wants to get married, the point is to feel like you are the best in their eyes. Like, so like anything less than that is unacceptable. Um, so I think that what's happening a lot these days is that people want to make sure that they secure their relationship by any means necessary. And most of the time, the means are making everyone feel comfortable, and feeling comfortable means feeling wanted unconditionally. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But and that unconditional part, it means getting married. And unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people like know or understand the significance of that these days, um, because it's not really that significant anymore. It's more about just checking something off the list rather than doing something in your life's journey that will help you like grow and learn and understand what it is to be alive. Um, which is like more of the journey part, like that my mom was talking about. So that's what I think. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Was there
Valero.
another one, or that was it?
No, no, that you kind of circled around and caught all the questions, sort of like what you see today versus like, since you were talking about like what your mom sort of sees and like the differences in the country. And yeah, that I
Yeah.
can certainly see that. I've never actually like talked to many people who have been who are like come from a different cultural aspect of marriage in that way and like hold it very strongly. Like the only people I really know who like have different cultures like that feel that way, I don't know that they necessarily themselves embody that because I don't know if they how they feel about it. Like everyone that I know who has that experience say, but everyone I know who has that experience says the exact same thing you just said about like how it seems much more sacred sounds like a weird word, but like, yeah, I guess sacred for a better lack of a better word, and like that it's very important to get right, and it seems sort of like uh, maybe not trivial, but like you said, it seems more about the material show than it does about what it's going to take to build. So yeah, that definitely answers that, and I can see a lot of that. Valero, anything to add on that? And then I'd also like your opinion on like how marriage has been for you. And like, and when I say that, you don't have to like get deep into your marriage if you don't want to or anything like that. But like, is marriage what you expected it to be? Like, or is it any different?
So what was the first? Is that what was the first
That
question? Is it just what I expected it to be? Because I just don't
Yeah, that
remember.
was my first question of you. I was just asking Gouda what like because he has a different, obviously a different
Oh,
perspective
okay.
on like what marriage is. But you can answer that question too. Like, why do you think uh marriages like divorces are up so much? And like, do you think like your version of marriage of what you think a marriage is in line what you think other people think marriage is?
I feel like from what I could guess, I think most of us our age have like a similar outlook on marriage. We're not all like insanely serious. Like we are serious about it, but maybe not like as serious as like people were like 100 years ago. We're like I feel like 100 years ago, if you get a divorce, like your life and reputation is over. Like especially as a woman, like it's just completely over. Like you're done. But like nowadays, like it's really like it still does have a social impact, but it's so much more minimal than I think it has been throughout history. And it seems like it's just becoming even more like normal to be like, oh yeah, I've been married before and I got a divorce, like as time goes on. But like, and also like we watched this one show, me and Lorraine. It's called Married at First Sight, and they've been doing like they're on their like 12th, 13th season, something like that. I want to say,
Yeah,
and like
Danielle watches that.
yeah, it's pretty like they all get on there in hopes that they'll be married forever, but then at the same time, some of them will just get a divorce like without even trying. Like they didn't even like give it a shot. So it's like they didn't care. Like they got married. They literally promised to someone, even though they were a stranger, that they would be with them forever. And then they just immediately, within days, just called it off. It's like, no. Like, so obviously, yeah, not everyone feels like it's serious enough, like even as serious as I would take it, or I feel like most people would take it. But I think like yeah, most people would fall like in the line of like they don't want to get a divorce, but if they do, it's not going to be the end of the world per se. But but yeah, my parents have been married for my whole life. If I'm 32, that means they've been married 34 years and they're still going strong. So I don't know. And is this what have I expected from marriage? Yeah, I feel like no offense to my parents, but I feel like my marriage is better than my parents' marriage. So like this is better than what I even like would expect because I feel like my the bar for a child would be like you don't want to do any worse than your parents did in something like marriage. So yeah, and I would say mine is, in my opinion, it's better at least. So like, yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised, not pleasantly, like very surprised, but like somewhat surprised about how good it's been.
Mm.
So, but I mean, I'm still, it's only been a year, but I've been
Sure.
with her
Yeah. Yeah.
for 7 years, so, and we've been lived together for 6 years, so that's a little different too.
Sure. Yeah. You mentioned earlier that you think it's not as there's not as much of a social like stigma around divorce. Do you think that that stigma, like the fact that it's not as stigmatized to get a divorce, is a good or bad thing, or do you think it doesn't really have much of an impact? Because when I hear that, I think to myself like, in some ways, I can see how that could be positive, right? Like if you're in a bad situation, like I would never the only like in my mind, the only reason I would want to get divorced is like in the case of abuse. Like everything else, I think for the most part, I feel like I could work out with my wife for the betterment of just like the family and just for us, so that we could be happy together. But like I don't know that everyone else would say that that's the bar. Like I think a lot of people might just feel like if they're unhappy long enough, they might feel like they'd want to leave, which I also kind of understand, but yeah, do you think? I guess what I'm asking is, do you think it's a good or bad thing that it's not stigmatized? Because I could see the positives of that, but I also could see the drawback of like if it's not stigmatized, then you kind of go in thinking like you kind of go in hedging your bets. Like it's like, oh, like yeah, I can get married to this person, but also it's not that hard to just get rid of them, and it's kind of supposed to be hard.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely all depends on the social stigma, on how hard the person thinks it is. Because my brother, I mean, hopefully I'm not telling too much information, but this is like public knowledge, I'm pretty sure. But like he was in a marriage for 16 years and like basically according to him, like it wasn't good for like most of the time. So like he tried like for 16 years basically to make it work, but then eventually he tapped out and it's like you can't make it work. So like yeah, that is kind of interesting. For me, I know I wouldn't last 16 years of straight unhappiness. Like, and I feel like everyone's level of that is different. But like,
Yeah.
is it a bad thing? Like, I feel like for him, because he waited 16 years, I'm assuming that in his mind, he sees it as more of a failure that he got divorced because otherwise he wouldn't have stayed in that long if
Hmm.
if he wouldn't have seen it that way. Because for me, like I would not last as long as 16 years. So then that's because like I don't see divorce as much of a failure. Like I'm like, is this worth 16 years of my life of stress and unhappiness? Like, or I could just get a divorce and like that's gonna be like 2 to 3 years of like stress and unhappiness. And then
Right.
yeah, it's just like I don't know, that's my logic, I guess. But
Well, that's
like
interesting.
he's in a community, like he's in a religious community, so like there is definitely more of a stigma upon getting
Hmm.
divorced. So he was really trying to do everything he could to like kind of keep up his standing like amongst that community. And like I'm not in any communities like that because I guess I do think that it's important that people have the option to get divorced. Like I don't think it should happen. I think if you promise someone to be with them forever, then you should like stand by that promise, unless like you said like it's abuse, or pretty much the same reasons you had, John. But like,
Hmm.
I think it is though important for people to understand that like at a certain point it is okay. Like I think it's probably healthy for both parties and everyone involved that you just go your separate ways.
All right. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So a question then, like, do you think having a child in the marriage changes anything? And the reason I ask that is because a lot of the stats that I've seen on like, and this is specifically to me, it is interesting because I actually come from a single mother household. You know, first like 15 years of my life, it was just me and my mom. And apparently, most of the statistics say that basically having less than two parents in the home basically puts the child at most statistical disadvantages. Like now, obviously, there's a bunch of different reasons for that. I'm not going to argue why or why not, but apparently that's what the data is saying. So like, would it change anything at all for you? Like, if you have a kid, like how old the kid is? Because like in my mind, once I have a kid, it also part of the responsibility is also to have a good environment for the kid. Now I know a lot of people would say to that like, well, if you're not happy, it's hard to create a good environment. And to a certain extent, I agree with that. But going back to something that Gouda said, like, but when his mom was describing marriages, is like, I think the way that we think about marriage, at least in the U.S., seems very central, like center focused. It's very about the individual, which has always been kind of weird to me because obviously you have to give up a certain portion of like your ability to be completely autonomous if you're going to consider another person. So like I don't know. For me, a kid would kind of change that because I would not want, even if I felt like I could make the best like co-parenting situation in the world, if there's any chance that I could like redeem things with my wife for the betterment of the family, I feel like I would. But I don't know. Maybe people feel like they are doing that. But if for people to be getting divorced 50% of the time, it just feels like some portion of those people have to be making a choice based on how they feel and not like just how everyone feels in that situation. So does a child change anything for you, Valero?
Yeah, I would say I'm almost pretty much on the same page with you. But what rings in my mind when you say that is my mom has always said, like don't put your kids through like your divorce essentially. Like if you know it's just not gonna work, like don't let them be raised their entire childhood while watching you be toxic with your partner. Like, because I guess that's kind of like what she lived through as a kid. Like her parents like had the most violent and crazy fights, like like absolutely wild, like with guns and like beatings and like crazy like fights with the
Hmm.
cops called multiple times, like stuff where people would be in jail for the rest of their life if it was done today. But like, and like it was traumatizing, it seemed like, for her. So like,
Yeah,
yeah, she always
imagine.
said that like if she ever did that, she would get a divorce. But like her marriage was never really like that, so like that's good. And yeah, she gave me the same advice. She's like, yeah, don't let it happen. Like,
Well,
either if it works, good, but if it doesn't, then like you're better off separate.
well, wouldn't that even fall into the category of abuse? Like, if you feel so, and some of that I feel like is immature. Like, I know a good amount of people who were friends with either my mom or someone else who, like, they've gone. I know I have friends of my mom's who have gotten through divorces, and men and women, and have just been bitter about the fact that the person moved on or something like that. So, like, I don't know if that's necessarily toxic. That just sounds like immaturity because you didn't like how things ended. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to put a kid through the divorce. But I would think two well-meaning adults would want to put that aside and not put the kid and like if the only way that you should be able to communicate in some way with your child's mother or father. Like if you had enough confidence in them to have a kid with them, can't you also talk to them about how to raise that kid?
And maybe that's just it. Maybe like a lot of these people like had kids with them in like unexpected or accidental circumstances, which then like kind of like forced them into a relationship that they didn't want to be in to begin with. And then that just adds fuel to the fire. I feel like I can see that happening a lot. Like knowing how many people get pregnant without getting married. I'm just like, why? I
which
like, and
is
like
which is
I've
really
seen it on like
strange.
TV shows.
Which is
Like
really
girls will be
strange to
like,
me.
"Yeah, I can't wait. Like I just met this guy. We're gonna have kids, and then maybe get married one day." I'm like, so, like, wait, did you just say like I hear that a lot? Like actually, like they'll list off like what their life goals are, and a lot of girls will kind of say like kids and marriage is at the same time. Sometimes kids will be before marriage. I'm just like, I
I don't.
wouldn't do it that way.
I mean, I don't see that as a bad goal, but to your point, like, yeah, I think there should probably be a like order of operations. Like, you should probably vet the person first, and then like, get like you said, get to know them a good amount of time, spend time with them, make sure that that's the person you feel like could like exemplify your values and all that other kind of shit, and then marriage, and then kids.
Yeah, that makes way too much sense.
Yeah,
There's
well,
no way most people are
well,
going through that kind of logic.
oh
Like
yeah, no,
that's
I'm sure they're not. You're right. Yeah.
yeah, that makes way too much sense. Like like with that logic, I mean, if both of people in a marriage basically kind of like live by that attitude, it almost like can't fail because like what can you
Right.
not solve? Like
Right.
eventually
Right.
you just agree to disagree and then just kind of avoid the situation. Or you would find some way to make it work, like for the exact reasons that you said. But I think the people that don't, yeah, it must be just that like one, their tolerance for like others' mistakes is like very low, and two, they just yeah, they must be I don't know, they must think they're never gonna get something unless they like basically just get this divorce,
Guda,
even no matter how much it would suck.
Were your parents married for a while before they like did they know each other for a while before they like got married and had children? Do you know?
I I don't know exactly how long they knew each other before my brother was born. I just know they were like kind of arranged. Like someone who knew my mom told someone who was familiar with my dad that hey, you guys should like meet each other and get to know each other and stuff like that. So like their first correspondence was letters because he was here in the States and my mom was still in Kenya. So um, I honestly have no idea what their life looked like before my brother or I existed. And I probably should like ask or something like that, but
Yeah, that'd
I
be
don't know.
interesting to know. But
I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
I haven't gotten to that age yet where I'm like, yes, let me know all all the secrets and disasters, 'cause I mean, it's kind of weird for me to like be thinking like recently that now like my best friends are having kids and like they will grow up and like I'll be able to be like, yeah, I knew your parents like 20 years before like you even existed. Like that's
yeah.
like that's kind of it's kind of outrageous to think about it that way. I think a lot of people as children or like having parents, you kind of don't take the time to think about your parent as an actual just human being like that existed before you did because all you can think about is like what you have seen like in your
Mhm.
timeline of being alive. So to think about stuff that happened before you were even alive, I think is oftentimes very weird. And more so to think about it for someone that's as close to you as your parents.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
That's a that's a funny point because Danielle and I talk about all the time how like Mila doesn't actually know our real names. Like she just thinks that my name is Daddy. Like
Yeah.
that's all she knows. Like so like sometimes we'll just to throw her off, like we'll just be like, "Hey, do you know where Danielle is?" And she'll just stare at us like we're just being ridiculous. But yeah, that just shows you like exactly what you're saying is that's exactly right. It's just the way they view their parents is just like yeah, that's all that existed. That like you've always just been that.
Yeah. So yeah. Wait, remind me again. What was the original question?
I was just
Like,
want
how
I
long did my parents know each other?
yeah, I was just wondering if you knew.
Yeah. No, I really don't know. But I do know that like they made an effort to like get to know each other. Or at least that's what my mom was saying, like how she took the time to learn about all the American sports that my dad was watching because she just she wanted to know about what he was interested in. So yeah,
Yeah,
I know there was like some type of um time where there was that getting to know each other type of thing.
yeah. I don't know that that happens as much anymore. To like Valero's point, I feel like it's much more sex and kids forward, like first, and then like you probably get to know those things as you're already committing to the person because you kind of just attach yourself to them because of children, and then it's just like, oh, okay, you like what now? Like, what do you like to do in your free time? But yeah, that's I don't think that that is as prevalent. Maybe it is on social media or maybe like dating apps. Maybe you're supposed to use it that way, but I don't know. It just seems like if people are getting divorced more, then obviously the vetting process is failing somewhere. But yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's interesting. So yeah, also about regarding divorce, we were talking a little bit before the podcast, and there are some other interesting divorce facts. Like apparently, certain types of professions are more likely to get divorced. So we were talking, and I asked them what what you thought, who you guys thought was the most likely, and I don't remember exactly what you said. You said something like entertainers, Gruda?
I said lawyer.
Oh, lawyer. No, yeah. Someone. I thought someone had said like an entertainer of some sort. But yeah. So
I
bar.
said athlete.
Oh, athlete. Yeah. So apparently bartenders and flight attendants. And yeah, that one. Those make sense to me. Um, I mean, it seems like you just have access to so many people, and you're just gone at such crazy hours. It's. I feel like it'd be very, very difficult to keep up a relationship when you probably don't see your spouse that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they're definitely gonna blame you for cheating eventually. It's like you've been gone all night. Like,
That
yeah, that's literally my
that or
job.
you're going to
And you were
cheat.
talking to these other people of different gender. It's like, yep, that's also my job.
I
And they were hitting on you. It's like, yep, I gotta go through that for my job.
Well, I
That
I
was the,
also heard that like the flight attendant one or the flight bartendant bartenders and flight attendant one have some truth to like that they might also be more likely to cheat. I don't know by like what margin, but yeah, that's interesting. Like,
I
do
mean, I would imagine it's a lot. Like,
yeah, yeah. So like, would either of you would either of you think to yourself it would be hard to meet and like date someone who was a bartender, or would you just go for it?
yeah, for sure. I could never.
Yeah, I don't think I
Yeah,
could
for
either.
sure, for sure. Yeah,
Oh,
that's just not even worth it. Like, I don't even want
yeah, I don't think I
to
could do
deal
it.
with all that. Like, yeah, there's just too much like public forward facing like interaction
You
that
know,
they would have to do. Like, even
that's
if I have
true.
full trust in them, I just feel like something bad would happen to them eventually because they run into like so much crap. No, that's like me thinking of like a girl, and girls are just like more like easily taken advantage of in the form of just like complete like they could just get kidnapped, like just snatched up essentially. So like yeah, but I guess like if I was a girl and like I was dating a guy who was a bartender or a flight attendant, yeah, you would just have to have full trust that they're just like they're gonna be good and they can take care of themselves. Like, yeah,
Yeah, for me, it's not as much about the trust part as it is just, it seems like a bartender especially, I just feel like that places you in positions where the only way that you can make money is where you have to place yourself in scenarios where people are constantly trying to get at you all the time. And like, even if I wasn't a bartender, I wouldn't want to place myself in those type of situations that often. So yeah, I don't know. And then like you're not gonna be home at like normal hours, so that's gonna be really tough. I don't know, just for the like what I would value out of someone who like I'd want to have like a kid with, that'd be tough. Now, could I date one of those people? I guess because like it's just whenever you get together, you just sort of hang out when you can. But like it's hard to like plan a life with someone who's not around or like even awake when you're awake.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Lorraine actually used to work some weird like bar, restaurant, late night hours, but it actually wasn't that bad because I am awake during those times. and then like she would basically go to bed at the same time I would, and then we would have all day together. So it ended up working out. But like had I had like a normal schedule to begin with, yeah, that would have been weird because then she'd
Yeah,
get home like halfway through the night essentially, and
yeah,
then yeah, I'd just be up in the morning like, like what the hell
yeah,
happened last night?
yeah.
Like who knows?
Well, well, I don't want to make this entire marriage discussion about the perils of marriage and how you should never ever do it. So, here's some people who are least likely to cheat. So, any guesses? Any guesses on the jobs who have the lowest divorce rates? I don't
Uh,
think you'll ever guess the number one.
Clergyman, someone of faith.
Ooh,
That's a good
that's a
one.
good guess. That's a very good guess, actually.
That's a really good guess. A clergyman. Yeah. Um. Hmm. Someone who doesn't get a divorce.
hmm
What if I just say like factory worker?
I mean, okay. Yeah, so out of the top 20 least likely, clergy is number four. So
Ah,
that was pretty close. That was pretty dang close. Number one is actuaries.
What is that?
accountants?
Is that
That's
what
like
that
an
means?
accounting thing, right? Or no?
No, an actuary?
Yeah,
Don't
what is
you?
that?
Isn't that something to do with like numbers and
Uh,
just determining the
yeah,
value on stuff?
yeah, it's like insurance.
Yeah.
They analyze the financial costs of risk and uncertainty. So they're like, yeah, insurance adjusters. Is that what you would call
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Appraisers?
yeah,
Something like that.
yeah. So
So
they're
they're
just sitting
so
there.
averse to risk that they would never even get in a marriage that would fail.
Right. Yep. That's exactly how I read that. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly it.
That's hilarious.
All right, give me two and three.
All right. Number two, physical scientists. I don't even know what that means. Physical scientists. Number three,
Like a physical, like what? Yeah, like
I don't
a.
know. Number three says medical scientists and life scientists.
So basically, scientists.
Damn.
Yeah,
You can mash all
scientists.
those
Yeah,
together
I don't know
somewhere.
why they separated those, but anyway, yeah. Five is just rounding out the top 10. Five is software developers. Six is
Wow.
physical therapists. I would not have guessed that.
Definitely not.
Seven is optometrists. Eight is chemical engineers. Nine is religious and educational directors. And 10 is physicians and surgeons. I don't think physicians
Dang
and
it.
surgeons
No factory workers.
Yeah, I think physicians and surgeons probably either don't have the time to cheat, or when they do have the time, they probably are mutually cheating, I would guess. And I think that would probably
Yeah.
not lead to divorce. Like if you're married to a physician or a surgeon, like a surgeon, if you're married to a surgeon, you don't spend a lot I can't imagine you spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, probably not.
Or you're also like part of the office, the hospital staff in some way.
Oh, that's
Oh
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like out of that whole list, the common thread is that you're either a person who deals in extreme logic or extreme empathy. So like you're less
Yeah.
likely to be done in by frivolous bullshit.
Yeah. So basically, if you're smart, you won't get a divorce because you will have planned for all the errors beforehand to minimize any any chance of that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, think about if think about who you imagine when someone says chemical engineer, and now imagine their spouse. What do you think would happen for them to get divorced? Like, can you even imagine it?
No, neither of them are going out partying.
Yeah.
Like, like the chemical engineer did not meet their spouse at the bar partying. Like, so their spouse is likely someone of like worthy mental something in some way. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah, you it seems like once you get to a certain status, you just agree with the person that you're with to just be like, "All right, this is where we're at now, and we're just gonna hold on to this, and we'll figure it out. Whatever. Like no matter what happens, I can't imagine that none of those like professions have high levels of infidelity. I would imagine probably a good amount of them do. Other than like actuaries, I don't think anyone is jumping up to bang an actuary. I'm gonna be real. I don't.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I didn't even know what
Why?
that
I
was
Why
th-
though?
I think because I think to your point, I think if you're an actuary, like I feel like you have to either be hella miserable, in which case like you probably don't have the natural ability to go up and get someone else other than your spouse, because like you have to have some type of charisma to just like at least as a guy. If you're a woman actuary, then yeah, I guess you could just go to a bar and someone will hit on you. You could probably have sex. But I don't think a guy actuary could like just run up to a bar and be like, you know what? Fuck these numbers today. I'm pulling in some hoes. Like I just don't think that happens. So
A guy actuary.
yeah, I
I'll
don't know.
come to work
I
every
just don't.
time.
Yeah, so it's either that, like either you're hella just like down and you don't have the time or the patience for people, or like to Good's point, you just thought things out so far in advance that like when you met your person, you were like, yeah, look, this is it. I'm not going anywhere, and hope you're locked in for the next 1,000 years like I am.
Yeah, I feel like that's the approach I took with my marriage. I was like calculating. All right, it all checks out. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta get that calculator out.
Yeah, there's no romance in the calculator, but the calculator works.
Yeah, there is very little romance in the calculator. Yeah, that's another thing about marriage that I think gets missed a lot. I think, like, and we've talked about this before off podcast, but like the version of like successful relationships that I think a lot of kids our age grew up seeing was a very Disneyfied like version of like love, and it's always supposed to be about love and just this overwhelming feeling that is supposed to trump all else, and love will always prevail. And like day-to-day marriage just isn't like that. Like
Yeah,
you
love
just,
does not prevail.
yeah, it's not real. Like a lot of marriage is about the duty that you committed to, like the responsibility to the other person, even when it's like very hard to do. So I feel like a lot of people just go in with the expectation that like, yeah, things should be pretty, smooth sailing, and then like when hurdles inevitably come up, it's very hard to deal with because your expectation wasn't adversity. But like that's just a normal part of human interaction in any relationship, and obviously it's definitely going to be a part of marriage because you're going to spend a lot more time and a lot more energy on that kind of relationship. So yeah, that's just another thing that I feel like I see a lot. The way people describe like their perfect marriage seems to be very much based on this emotional peak that is just going to sustain them for decades. And I just think to myself like, how could you expect to be in this happy blissfulness for like that long?
Yeah, like there has to be something outside of that blissfulness that like
Otherwise, you
matches
wouldn't
all the
know
bliss
what
above.
blissfulness is, right? Like you had nothing to compare it to.
Right. Like it's gonna wear off eventually, and then you're gonna be left with what the marriage actually is. And if it's not like providing you with anything, then like
Yeah.
you're not getting that blissfulness back. I can tell you that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You'll be like, God
So
damn it, they do this, they take away this from my life. It's this sucks, this sucks. It's like, why did I even get myself into this? It's like, yeah, because you were thinking with that dick.
yeah, he's like, girl, I know you want this dick.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, good old Kendrick. He's not married, is he?
I think he might quietly be married, actually.
Dude, I feel
Oh.
like he might be like a decent
Oh.
husband, like low key.
Yeah.
Because like I don't
Oh.
hear him popping off or do anything wild. Like he made some crazy lyrics, but like honestly, he seems pretty low key. He might be able to
You
hold a
know,
relationship down.
No,
you
he's
know,
a
I
reputable
agree.
guy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I 100% agree with both of you on that. I think he probably would make, if he's not already married, to Guda's point, maybe he would probably make a really good husband and dad. But like, what's crazy is that like the way our society, like, I don't know how much you guys know about Steve Harvey, but like, he has his own talk show, and he's a very funny comedian. Don't get me wrong. I actually like Steve Harvey as a comedian, but like he has his own talk show now, and he regularly gives advice to people about their relationships. He's on his third marriage. And I just I just think to myself, if you put Kendrick Lamar and Steve Harvey next to each other and ask people, like regular people, who they want to take advice from, I don't think many people are gonna pick Kendrick Lamar, which is really
No.
sad because like I feel like Steve Harvey has proven that he's bad at this.
That is true.
Like
Yeah, it says
if I was on my third
it
marriage,
says
I would not be giving other people advice.
yeah, definitely. It said him and Whitney Halford have been together since 2015.
Oh, okay, that's yeah,
I don't know
that's
who this
like
is.
together or married. Do you know?
It just says
Together.
together.
Huh, okay. Yeah, all right.
Oh,
Well,
wait.
he's going
He
eight
has
years
two
strong.
kids and they are engaged as of October of last year. Jesus Christ, yeah.
Wait,
He's
so
like,
he's been
yeah,
married.
well, let's have kids, but we're not getting married.
Oh, wait, he has two kids with her.
Yeah, yep.
Oh, okay.
Jeez, that's quick.
Yeah, so like it's so interesting to me that someone like him can get up and like stand in front of a large audience and they will like trip over themselves to ask like how they should get into committed relationships and what they should do in certain situations. Like he has a whole show. Like I don't know if it's based around that, but like I've seen a lot of like videos from whoever is producing the show saying like clips from the Steve Harvey show or whatever. And like those are all the clips and it's just weird to me that like people are like, yeah, it makes total sense to ask someone who has no long-term track record of success in this area to tell me how to be successful at it.
Yeah, that really
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
what if I came up to you, I'm like, look, I have a really hot lead on this stock that you're gonna want to pick up. But just to let you know, I've never had any portfolio of any kind in my entire life. But you gotta trust me on this. Like, you just gotta do it. I need you to like liquidate everything and put it all in this one asset. It
Yeah.
won't work otherwise.
You and that stock
Yeah,
can
no
get
one's.
fucked.
Yeah, that's Steve Harvey.
Yes, that's
Everyone's like,
Steve
yeah, let's
Harvey.
listen to this
Yeah,
guy.
that's Steve. Yeah, that's
Brought to
basically
you by Steve Harvey.
yeah, it's funny you bring that up because another major reason that people get divorced is money. And I feel like people do the exact same thing with that. Like it's very strange the way like how we choose our role models. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe part of the discussion is we look for happiness and we look for like advice on how to get through our lives from just whoever seems like an authority. And I tell someone else this today about money. I feel like a lot of times we mistake authority and like just stage presence for actual like intelligence. Like if you
Yeah,
put enough
definitely.
if we put enough
Definitely.
people in front of you and we put that person in front of you enough, you just start to just automatically assume, well, they must be an authority because how could he possibly have this show? How could he possibly be this successful without knowing what he's talking about? When really
Yeah.
like the game seems to be to sell you the dream on how to do something that they don't know how to do.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson has entered the chat. Yeah, that's literally him. Like, who is this guy? Why is he getting attention? Like, I guess
From
he actually is like a
I
therapist
was
or
gonna
something.
say
But like,
from what I understand, he's a clinical, and I actually have listened to a lot of his stuff. He's a clinical psychiatrist in Canada. Yeah, in
yeah,
Canada. So
yep,
yeah, he's apparently he's actually been in the field for a while, and he is
yeah,
married.
yeah. But I don't know like what's going on. But why all of a sudden this particular guy is getting so much attention and influence right now? But I've
Because
listened to what he says. Nothing. It's nothing crazy. Like, it's like
um,
okay. I mean,
so
some of it's kind of crazy, and I'm just like I don't agree with it. But like nothing. It's like I don't know what he's saying for people to be like, this guy is the future, like he's our new god. Like what? It's like this is ridiculous.
So a lot of his stuff, try to like keep it on the marriage thing. Like a lot of his stuff around relationships. Well, he originally got popular when he like went against some of the medical recommendations and standings around what was going on in Canada with trans people, and like speech around trans pronouns. So originally, the government there was basically going to mandate certain speech around like people in like the trans community. Like you had to say X, Y, or Z when you refer to them, or it could be considered some type of like small
Jesus.
crime or something like that.
Okay,
So
that's
that's why
pretty
he
crazy.
yeah, so that's why he was absurd. Like he was like, no, I'm basically not gonna follow that. I don't give a fuck what they say. So yeah, he got popular based on his defiance originally. And then he started talking about a lot of other things. People started looking up all his other like lectures and shit because apparently he's been lecturing for a long time and he has some books and some other shit. So people like that was his intro, and then people started watching his other stuff. So that just made him popular, and like he started talking to more and more people and got on that lecture circuit. So yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah, now it
Jordan
doesn't matter what
Peterson.
he says. People take it for truth and fact now. He's been tenured.
I would hope that if anyone listen, and not just Jordan Peterson, because I do agree with a good amount of stuff he said, but only the things that I can try to like verify my own. Like it's hard to like disagree with a logical like argument that's laid out, but like to your point, like it might not be I might not agree with every single thing. It might just be like, yeah, I can understand how the logic of that flows. See, I would hope that anyone who sees anyone on TV, again, like there's a lot of Steve Harveys out there and you can't know who's who. So until you vet them well, just like you would vet your spouse, please start vetting the people that you listen to who tell you how to handle your spouse because these people don't give a shit about you, man. I'm just saying. These divorce rates are creeping up, and they don't care because they're making that young moolah baby.
Yeah, man, they're
Right.
married to the pocketbook.
Yeah, they're married all right. You know, you know who Steve Harvey's never divorced? A dollar.
Yeah. Yeah, oh man. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Monday, baby.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, man.
Basically Monday.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it literally is.
thanks for humoring me this fine afternoon and talking about why people are walking away from their spouses in droves. I'm sure we have plenty of good things to look forward to in the future for the American family.
Yeah,
Right.
just take a page from the list of the 10 jobs that don't get divorced and just be smart emotionally and realistically.
Yeah, man. Just crunch those
And you're a
numbers.
chemical engineer.
Yeah, crunch those
Yeah.
numbers like you're an actuary. You know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you define, before you sign those divorce papers, just think, what would a chemical engineer do?
Yeah.
And
If you don't,
that'll lead you straight.
let's be honest, if you haven't made at least two spreadsheets about your spouse, you're not prepared enough.
Yep.
All right. I think this is a good place to end it. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll catch you guys in the next one.